morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the January 21st edition of Makers and Movers podcast. I'm your host, Todd. How are you doing today, folks? It's cold, and it's only going to get colder here. I think we're looking at highs in the negative temperatures on Friday to Saturday, so that doesn't sound fun at all. It is going to be a cold, cold, cold weekend. I think lows negative 40 Fahrenheit. I don't even know what that transfers to Celsius. So you guys can tell me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your first time here, long time here, and who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, what the weather is like in your area, and then five things. What are five things that you are going to accomplish today? Today, we got a lot to accomplish. We got to follow up with YouTube. I'm going to touch base on that for a little bit, so that way you guys know what's going on here, because we did hear back from them yesterday. We've got transfers that need printed. We've got transfers that need cut and weeded. We've got orders that need to be pulled, and the one of the biggest things is getting Corey packed, because she leaves early in the morning to head out to Long Beach tomorrow. So she's headed out there for the Impressions Expo this weekend. Go check out, see what's going on in the industry, and a little workation. Go out there, enjoy it. While it's negative 40 there, I'm sure it will be nowhere near that on there. Jeff, I don't understand that. How is 32 0 and negative 40 negative 40? That the math doesn't math to me on that. I don't understand how that works. But what are we talking about today? Oh, today, what would really happen in your business if you trusted yourself more? Like most, I'm gonna lump some of us together. Most of us, we don't struggle because we lack skill. A skill, it's I think it's a struggle because we don't fully trust ourselves. Even after all these years of experiences. I mean, not long if you're with me. Do you sometimes second guess your decisions? Do you sometimes delay some action? Do you sometimes, feel like you need to look outward for validation with answers, are already right in front of you in your business? And then on top of this, does January make it all worse because the pace slows down, orders dip down. And now you have this extra time just to start to think, which really sounds good until, what are you thinking about? What about you? But I think about those mistakes that we made, question those choices that we made, and then, really wondering if last year's, results were, you know, if they tell me did something or say something uncomfortable about my ability to be a business owner, you know, even super confident, makers, I think will feel this, when it's quieter out. And so, this one isn't going to be about, like believing in yourself, and that motivational poster, which one I'm talking about. You see it in your head, It's more about trust, trusting our judgment, trusting our experience, and trusting our ability to figure things out as we go, not waiting until everything feels safe, because confidence usually does not come before action. It comes from the action itself. So, the question isn't, are you confident? It's, what would you actually change if you trusted yourself more this year, before you had the perfect clarity of what's going to happen. So, before we get into it, we will check in. Renee, good morning to you from Balmy 25, water in the bottle, tea in the cup. Five things fixed my bamboo's epic failed print. Tell me more about that. There'd be tools and swearing involved. This sounds fun. What's up, Chuck? Good morning to you. Chuck, you holding up in the cold down there? I just talked to Matt this morning. He said, it's cold. He goes, it's 40 degrees. I'm like, it's amateur weather. Get out of here. Jose, good morning to you. Alania, good morning. Hi, Jose and Alania from Renee. Jeff was checking in. What? You know what? I think I don't. My level isn't really that much because we've got so much going on. I'm sure it'll be more of the weather, getting out there to see that. I'm sure the people, because there will be people, there will be people that I miss seeing. That typically we see vendors. I told Corey, I'm like, you're in charge of all that. I got invited to a dinner on Friday night. They're like, so you said something about Long Beach. If you're in town, let's go to dinner. Here's the info for it. I'm like, yeah, that's Corey. That's not me. And they're like, she wants to come. More than welcome to. I'd love to have her in it too. She's like, oh, she doesn't know these people. So she'll talk to the people that she knows. She'll see the things. And great thing is taking April. April, has helped us out a lot on the back end of the business. Sorting rhinestones, coloring rhinestones, ordering, helping inventory, do a lot of those things with it. And so, hey, here's our thing for you. Now you can go see this part of the business. So looking forward to her feedback on it. Well, I said, don't know if I can. I trust myself to get started, only to have my equipment left. Now I'm broke and can't. Deflated and defeated. Left? What happened? What happened, Lania? Tell us. Tell us, and let's see what we can get through with it. Barb, good morning. North Central Minnesota, 7. Water in the cup, 5 things. Customer drop-offs, 3D print. Move fabric, digitize, DTF printing. Love it, love it, love it. And hi, Renee, Jose, and Jeff from Barb. And Tim's checking in. Good morning. 22 up to 35 today. That's a heat wave. Back down to 5 the following day. Yeah, we're like our high, I think, on Friday is -1. I need to find some new work, nothing related to tinting or t-shirts. So I'm going to work on something to generate some business. What are you doing, Tim? I can't wait to hear what this is. Uh, Hi, Barb. Long time no chat. You good? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Glad to read it. All right. Look at you guys getting in it. Last night, we really had fun. We did. I don't. Corey has them all over. No, because the kids wore them today. We did. Uh, an oldie but goodie design, and we did multi-deck where we had some foil, we had or not some foil, we had some holographic, we had some flock, we had some glitter, we had some stone. So make sure go back and watch that one because it was there. And now today we get to clean up the mess from that and pack and pull orders from it. Test out a new app that we built last night where we had a race. So I think everybody got a kick out of that. I did. I really had a kick out of that. And I feel it was a good family show. It was everything that we needed. The ups and downs of cameras not working and things, and that's why I tell you guys, just go live, just go do it. Things are going to happen, and you just fix it. Now, next week's Tuesday with Todd, I think it's shaping up to be a very interesting show because I believe our girls are going to attempt making shirts. They may have pressed some stuff first before, but as far as brushing in stones, doing all of that, it'll be their first time doing it. Corey's out of town. She'll be still in Long Beach, but the show must go on. So I said, you guys want to do this? So I think Krista and I think Delaney's going to stop by and do that. And Hattie said that she'd show them because she's watched enough of it. So we'll see how that goes. So looking exciting to see how that will play out. Play out for tomorrow. Good morning. Coke and water in the cup. Just tell me they're one of each, not mixed together, because watered down Coke sounds weird. Doing 8 hours deep clean today, so my day is full. Get after it. Oh, moved in my rhinestones cutters. Oh, that sucks. I know what you're saying. Well, we can get you started over. One thing that we learned throughout the years is the only thing you need to get started on our business realistically is a heat press. We can get transfers for everything else. We can screen printing transfers, DTF transfers, rhinestone transfers, HTV transfers. We can get all of that stuff. The knowledge comes from the beginning part of it. But with just a press, we can get everything there. Okay, it is 2 cups. Oh, sweet! Can't wait to see. We'll see how the. I don't know if we'll get them on camera. We'll get some fingers on camera. Like Corey stressed last night when I said, "Hey, come get on this so I can go fix that." She's like, "My makeup's not done. I don't have any on." Like, nobody cares. Just go out. They understand the realness of all of this. So, had a good show, good sale. Remember, that's why you want to tune in on Tuesday nights. There's some one-off sales that happen during that. Okay, YouTube update. YouTube got back to us yesterday, and they acknowledged, Tribal Chief. They acknowledged that we did in fact get hijacked. And so they gave us a new form to fill out, which was the same form we filled out before. It said if it didn't work, then we need to come back and here's all the information that they need, and then they can do it to an what is it? Why can't I think of the word? Escalate. So they can escalate it, and that's what they were going to do. So I put everything, gave them all the information that after that they requested, filled everything out, took screenshots, put everything there, sent it to them, and then they did hear back from them at 4 o'clock this morning with nothing really, like nothing very, like super promising as far as timeline goes, because as we went through it, they they were able to see that yes, it was indeed hacked. We know this. That's what we were doing. They thanked us for keeping in touch, but they did say that it was indeed hacked and that they disabled that account and that we have to recover it. So we went going through their excuse me, their process of all of that. And I gave them everything they needed. And then this morning, they said that that they can tell that getting this sorted out is really vital to us. Duh. And then for further assistance, that they have escalated it to their recovery team, and then they will update us once they hear back from them. And we may also receive an email directly from the team. So stay tuned. And if we have any questions, just reach out. So maybe tomorrow we'll hear something. I'm not 100% sure, but it is looking promising that we are going to get the channel back. Everything will be there and we'll be good to go. So we're just in a holding pattern for everything until we know. But it does sound like we're going to be able to get recovered and be off to the races. Which, if that comes back and everything's fine, it was like I said, it's nothing more than the comma and encyclopedia of our story. But man, some people look really, really bad for the things that they said and did and posted during this 2 week time of turmoil. And we said, "Here's what's going on with it." Like, oh, now it's all back. Do you want to recant some of those nasty things you said? That's nice. No, we're just going to block IPs and just be done with you as customers. Like, that's it. So, before I go off on a tangent about stuff, what do you say we dive into today's content? Right? What is that? All right. Okay. I'm like, what do I got going on here? All right. Number one, do you know that trusting yourself shortens the time that you stay stuck? Wow. Hey, that's a pretty novel concept, right? Like when you don't trust yourself, decisions tend to stretch out way longer than they need to. You what do? You gather more opinions from people. You do more research. You the analysis paralysis, and you just wait for more certainty. And that's not because this is some complex decision that needs to be made, but it's because you don't trust your own judgment fully. In self trust, it doesn't mean you're always right. Okay? It just means that you believe that you can handle the outcome either way. In that belief dramatically shortens how long you sit, in indecisiveness, right? Which is where, a lot of, momentum dies. Staying stuck is not neutral. It costs time, it costs energy. And most importantly, I think it costs you your confidence, even if it feels safe with it. So, some examples of this is a maker spent weeks debating whether to raise prices, asking multiple groups, tweaking spreadsheets, and then revisiting the decision over and over and over again, losing weeks of potential margin in process. I just spent into time on it. You know, Another one, they raise prices slightly based on experience and then watches how the customers respond. And then they adjust later, gathering data instead of staying frozen. So for this action step, let's just pick one decision that you've been delaying. What are you delaying making the decision on? And let's set a firm timeline to decide, on what we're going to do with that. That's it. You know, Pick one decision you've been delaying, set a firm deadline to decide, you know, when you're going to start, when you're going to have a decision made for that. All right. Number two, trusting yourself. Trusting yourself is going to filter noise. Is going to filter noise instead of absorbing it. So, what exactly does that mean? Well, without self trust, every outside opinion feels urgent and important. Right? Advice from social media, other makers, me, what works for them. That all carries that same weight. Even if it doesn't apply to your business, your capacity, or your goals, they're what they said you're trying to apply to yourself. When you trust yourself more, you don't stop listening to what others say. You just start filtering it. You ask better questions. Does what they're saying fit my current situation? Does what they say that doesn't even make does what they say does what they say, does that sound right? Whatever's going on over there, does that serve what I'm building here? You know, that shift alone, that can reduce how overwhelmed you feel. And it will really help you stay consistent, in instead of going in a new direction. Noise equals exhaustion. Trust creates focus. And some examples of this, a maker changes their marketing approach every few weeks because they're constantly reacting to trends and advice that they see online. So you're not staying consistent. You're just, well, here's the new thing. Well, we got to do that. Here's the new thing. Here's that. Here's this. That's what I got to do. I got to do. Nothing of my own doesn't fit my brand and my personality or consistently. You know, another one, commits to just a simple strategy that fits their schedule and their audience. Even new trends pop up, they stick to what they're doing. And what are they doing? They're building momentum through consistency. So for this one, let's just choose one area of your business where you will stop taking, new advice for the next 30 days. Pick one of your things. I'm not taking any new advice. I know what I know. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on the next 30 days. I'm not asking anybody else. That's it. Okay. And Renee, it it is what they say, is what they say, is what they say. Okay. That even sounds weird to me. Number three, trusting yourself, it makes your customer interactions more clear and more calm. You know, customers, customers can, are pretty smart cookies. They can sense, hesitation. You know, when you don't trust yourself, it can show up in your communications. How does it show up? Let me hear a me if you've done any of these. Has anybody over explained? Me. Has anybody apologized unnecessarily? Me. Has anybody wavered on their boundaries that they set? Me. Even those small signals of uncertainty, that invites pushback from your customers. Now, when you trust yourself, your communication really does become steadier. You explain things once, you hold timelines, you say your prices without being defensive, is what it is. And that confidence right there, that transfers directly to customers and reduces the friction. Now, self trust doesn't make you rigid by any means. It's just making you consistent, right? And some examples of this is a maker apologizes repeatedly when explaining turnaround times, which invites the negotiation, the frustration that goes around it. Another maker, they have their timelines clearly stated and confidently stated, and customers accept them without question. Here's my timeline for this. If you need it after this, here's the rush fees. That's it. No negotiations. Done. So for this one, just review, one listing or customer message that you've apologized for, and just see, what do I need to do to remove those apologies? We're going to remove those unnecessary things from it and believe in ourselves, trust ourselves, and send out those correct things. Now, before we back into 4 and 5, let's check in and see where we were with it. Let's see. Leslie was there. Let's see. Oh, sweet. Yeah, can't wait to see. We'll see. I love a good block. Yeah. And that's the thing is, when we were talking, it's just like the staff doesn't deserve the way that they were treating the emails. They think that nobody was affected by this. Like the whole company was. We're talking 5,000, over 5,000 videos, and YouTube even upload them only allows. There's no bulk uploader, so I can only do 75 in the 24-hour period, and each one needs thumbnails and a description and titles. So yeah, it'll be a process to get it all back. Yeah, second guessing does tend to harm the process. 100% with that. Manny says, hope you guys get all worked out. It's crazy, man. There's almost no recurse of digital. Yeah, there's nothing, right? There is nothing. Like, all right, you either got it or you didn't. And the person that got affected, like in this instance, us, we're coming up on 2 weeks without it. And we're just kind of stuck. You would think as big as Google is, big as Alphabet company is, that we would have an account management team. We would have something that, we YouTube subscribers, 345,000 people or so. You'd think we'd have some kind of say or something. Nope. It's just like It's the same as if somebody had one subscriber. It's wild. I said, I've learned to go with your gut. It works, or you'll learn it didn't work and remove it as, yeah, absolutely. Everything, whether it works or not, is a lesson. Customers believe you when you believe in you 100%. If you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect customers to believe in yourself? That's a great point. If you do not believe in yourself, how do you expect customers to believe in you? Cindy, good morning. It's 21, and I'm not reading about high of -2 now. It was -1, now it's -2. I'm hoping that they just go do online learning that day. Corey's gone, then we don't really have to. I don't have to get up earlier to go do that. I can go out in it. Uh, it is sunny out today, so I'm going to try and get some pictures of what was delivered yesterday because we got something new to the TRW family. We've taken possession and get to be the curator, right? What is that? Whatever it is when you take possession of something anyway, we got something new, fun, new to us and TRW, and can't wait to show you guys off. We're going to do some fun stuff with that soon. 5 things: make sure studio pipes are closed, alien seal windows, stitch fobs, cut fabric, plank clay cutters. Very nice, Cindy. Cindy, I tagged you in something. If we get the shop up there, and we might have to have you in for a Tuesday with Todd bow making tutorial. We can do rhinestones and we can do it all. So I tagged you in that. We'll see. Keith, hey. From sunny Space Coast in Florida. Got here late today. I'm glad you could join us there. It's still Keith. And remember, sharing's caring. Go up, share the button, share all that, because right now this is the only channel we have. So you guys can help us by doing that. All right. Number 4, trusting yourself. Yeah, it makes growth feel manageable instead of threatening. Because growth, it really does feel scary when you don't trust yourself to handle it. You feel overwhelmed. Opportunities feel risky, and you hesitate, not because growth is bad, but because you're unsure if you can manage what comes along with it. We had the imposter syndrome and feeling this when we bought TRW. Can we handle everything? Can we do it? So we don't know, but we're going to try. Every day is a new, something new that comes up. We just go with it. So we trusted ourselves. Because when you trust yourself, you do, I think the growth does feel safer. And I feel that way because, you know that you're going to adapt, that you're going to adjust and you're going to problem solve because you already have before. Right? That belief, that really does reduce your fear and allows you to progress through things without panicking. And trust isn't going to remove challenges by any means, but what it is going to remove is that fear of your own capability. All right. Some examples of this is a maker avoids marketing because they're afraid of getting more orders than they can handle. Has anybody experienced that? God, I really need more orders, but I'm afraid if I run some ads and I do some stuff, I'm going to be able to get, so many orders that I can't handle it. So I'm better off just to not do anything at all. Right? I think we've been there. Another one, just sets clear limits and trusts himself to adjust the process if demands increases. You know what? We're going to figure it out. We're going to run ads, and what happens, and we'll go from there. Okay. So, for this, is there one growth-related fear that you have? And can you write that down and then list past situations where you successfully adapted under pressure for that issue? Okay. Now, number 5, trusting yourself. You know what that builds? Quiet, sustainable confidence. Because real confidence is not loud. It doesn't announce itself or need, constant validation. It just shows up, as consistency, as follow through, is the ability to just keep going without needing reassurance every step of the way. When you trust yourself, you stop measuring progress only through those external wins. You start valuing, clarity in your business, stability in your business, and your ability just to show up every day and stay in the game and work. Even when it's slow out, you still show up and work. For us, we still, we're working out of the house. I still have a set schedule. I still get up like I was going to an office. I still set it where this is work time. It's not playtime. It's we're coming into work. And just doing that, makes it the confidence there. You know, when you're doing all these things together, that confidence can compound, and you really do start believing yourself that you can do it. This is how long-term businesses are built, and not through bravado and big, loud, exorbitant things. It's through trust. Right? So, some examples of this is a maker state. A maker consistently questions whether they're doing enough despite steady improvement. We see a trajectory going like this. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Well, yeah, because you can see it going up and doing it. And another one just focuses on progress that they can control, and they stay committed to that through the ups and downs, because that's what happens in this business. Ups and downs, ups and downs. The action step for this is, at the end of each week, just write down one decision that you made without asking outside validation. That's it. Now, as we recap this and wrap it all up, trusting yourself, it doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. You will, I will, we all will, right? What it does mean is that we believe that we can handle those mistakes. When you trust yourself more, what happens? You stay stuck for less time. You filter advice instead of drowning in it. Your customers feel more confident in your ability to complete their job. Growth feels way more manageable instead of way, way scary. And then confidence becomes steady, not performative. So this year, you do not need louder confidence. You just need deeper trust. And that just really starts by believing in yourself, in the experience you already have, because all of that counts. Now, that's what we have for you today. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Friday show. Friday show is we're talking about you are allowed to enjoy this. What does that mean? Well, somewhere along the way, a lot of makers, quietly decided that enjoying the business, meant that they weren't taking it seriously enough. And that's far from the truth. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. Now, any other questions, comments, concerns, anything that I can help you with, get in here with it, right? And we'll go back to it. Consistency builds confidence. Absolutely. Consistency builds confidence, and confidence exudes trust. Absolutely. All right. Mentorship community will be starting that call in about 30 minutes. So we'll be over there for that. Everybody else, we do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you are a Hall of Fame member, make sure to fill out the form in the group so you get the link to the Hall of Fame training on Thursday. With that, you guys have an amazing day. Until next time, peace, love, press on, and we will see you then.